Imagine a land of misty forests and untamed rivers, a place where tribes roam freely across rolling hills, long before the legions of Rome set foot on its shores. Britain before the conquest was wild, barbarous, a tapestry of warrior cultures, each tribe fiercely independent. The Druids held sway over spiritual life, the hill forts crowned the horizon, and chieftains led their people in seasonal rites and raids. There were no paved roads, no aqueducts, no orderly forums, only the raw power of nature and the strength of the individual warrior standing between humanity and chaos. Then came Julius Caesar, crossing the Channel in 55 BC with 2 legions, more a reconnaissance than an invasion, yet it was enough to leave its mark. He described Britain as a place of tall forests where tribes fought like animals driven by instinct and honor. Caesar wrote of fierce Britons painted in blue woad, shock troops brandishing long swords and chariots that trampled Roman lines like rolling thunder. In his memoirs, he marveled at their bravery and lamented their lack of discipline. Still, he chose not to occupy, content to extend Rome's influence through diplomacy, hostages, and the promise of trade. Nearly a century later, in AD 43, Emperor Claudius launched a full-scale invasion. 4 legions and auxiliary units ferried across the sea, the eagles unfurled, and Rome claimed a new province. The tribes of Britain fell quickly, some through fear, some through alliance, some through cunning diplomacy. The Iceni, a tribe in modern-day Norfolk, negotiated peace. Their king, Prasutagus, swore loyalty to Rome, but kept his kingdom intact and his coffers filled with Roman coin. He died soon after, leaving his land to Nero and to his 2 daughters in a will meant to protect his family. Rome's lawyers saw it differently. Ignoring Prasutagus's will, they seized his lands, treated the Iceni as conquered slaves, sold nobles at the auction block, and enslaved free men in the mines. When the Roman procurator scorned a daughter's plea for mercy, the soldiers struck again, raped Boudica, scourged her body, and left her daughters dishonored. It was the final insult against a proud people. In AD 60, the Iceni and their neighbors, the Trinovantes, rose in revolt. Tacitus, writing decades later, claims they drew inspiration from Arminius, the Germanic chieftain who defeated Rome in the Teutoburg forest half a century before. They remembered how their ancestors had repelled Caesar's first assault, and now, under Boudica's leadership, they would wipe out Rome's stain from their land. Picture Boudica before her army, her eyes aflame with righteous anger. In an imaginary speech penned by Tacitus, she stands tall on a fallen shield and shouts, "It is not as a woman descended from noble ancestry, but as one of the people that I am avenging lost freedom, my scourged body, the outraged chastity of my daughters. This is a woman's resolve, as for men they may live and be slaves." Silence follows. Then the war cries rise like a storm. Their first target, Camulodunum, modern Colchester. The town was a symbol of Roman might, the colonia of retired legionaries, temples to the emperor, a budding forum. Quintus Petilius Cerialis and half the 9th Legion were here, unprepared for the fury of the Iceni horde. Boudica's warriors fell on the settlement like wildfire, shields splintered, homes burned. Surrender was not an option. Within hours the colonia lay in ashes. From there they swept south to Londinium, a trading post of wooden docks and warehouses, barely defended, its population mostly merchants and Wallonians. The rebels tortured and killed all in their path, leaving the Thames stained with blood. Then they marched to Verulamium, today's St. Albans, and butchered the townsfolk in the streets. Tacitus estimates that in these 3 settlements alone, between 70 and 80,000 people perished, slaughtered with gibbet, fire, or cross. There were no prisoners taken, no ransom or sale, only death. News of the uprising reached Suetonius Paulinus, governor of Britain, campaigning on Anglesey in the far west. He gathered his forces, Legio 14 Gemina, Legio 20 Valeria Victrix, and any auxiliaries he could spare. In total, around 10,000 men, including cavalry, archers, and pillar-tossing infantry. Dio Cassius, writing later, claims Boudica commanded between 230,000 and 300,000 warriors, though modern historians doubt so high a figure. Regardless, Suetonius knew he faced overwhelming numbers. He chose his ground carefully, a narrow defile with dense forest flanking both sides, open in front, no room for chariots to circle, and protected on the rear. This would force the Britons to attack head-on, negating their advantage in mass and mobility. Suetonius arrayed his legionaries in close order, shields interlocked, piler ready, auxiliar infantry on the flanks, cavalry on the wings. Behind them stood the baggage wagons of the Britons' families, trophies and hostages alike, meant as a moral spur. Before the battle, Boudica addressed her host again. Tacitus records her words, "Roman lust has gone so far that not our very persons, nor even age or virginity, are left unpolluted. They will not sustain even the din and the shout of so many thousands, much less our charge and our blows. If you weigh well the strength of the armies and the causes of the war, you will see that in this battle you must conquer or die." Meanwhile, Suetonius rallied his men. "Ignore the racket of these savages, they're not soldiers. There are more women than men. When they see our weapons and feel our spirit, they'll crack." When battle erupted, it was swift. The legionaries held their line, then launched a wedge formation through the massed Britons. Auxiliaries followed, cavalry swept around to cut off any flankers. Trapped against the forest edge and the wall of wagons, the Britons fell in waves. Tacitus records, by some accounts, little less than 80,000 Britons fell, at a cost of some 400 Romans killed and a similar number wounded. The battlefield ran red, bodies piled high, and even the baggage animals were speared, thrown into the carnage. The revolt was crushed in a single day. Boudica, according to Tacitus, poisoned herself rather than face capture. Suetonius wanted to press the advantage, to punish every tribe that had joined the rebellion. Nero, hearing of the uprising, had considered abandoning Britain altogether. But when the rebellion was quelled, he retained the province. Yet fearing further unrest, he replaced Suetonius with Publius Petronius Turpilianus, a governor with a lighter hand. For all its savagery, Boudica's revolt changed nothing of Rome's destiny in Britain. Southern tribes were cowed, forts and roads spread across the land, the Pax Romana took hold. But in the north, legions never camped for long. The Brigantes would rise again under Venusius in AD 69, emblematic of the province's unquiet spirit. And still, even under the shadow of the empire, the story of a warrior queen who dared to challenge Rome endured, a reminder that freedom is always worth fighting for. The echoes of chariot wheels, the clash of swords, Boudica's name lives on in legend and in the hearts of those who honor defiance in the face of overwhelming power. Her story, a testament to the power of outrage, the strength of a mother's love, and the will of a people determined to be free.